Survivor, we bring you the best guests in all of true crime. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button. Here's your host, Emmy Award-winning broadcaster, Joel Waldman.
What's up, STS Nation, and welcome to Surviving the Survivor. It is the show that brings you the very best guests in all of true crime on trending criminal cases. And today, we're talking about a disturbing story, but we've got an interesting angle. We have not one, but two homicide detectives that I'm about to introduce you to. As you all know, Fridays are typically the great Fil Waters, America's most respected detective, him and Fil Ramos. And Phil, believe it or not, called me and said, guess what? I've got to testify in my final homicide case, even though he's been retired for a number of years. The trial is just happening, so that is what he is doing today. So it's kind of a monumental moment for him. And by the way, I think this is the first time in history we started exactly on time. But today we are going to be looking at Stephan Sterns. He is, I guess you could call him the creep, and much worse, who is accused in the murder of Maddie Soto in Orlando, Florida. She went missing February 26th of last year, and her body was discovered 4 days later. Stephan Sterns charged with the murder. He's also charged with 60 counts of various forms of SA on a minor. Those charges alone could get him convicted of the death penalty, let alone the murder charge. So he is definitely in a bit of trouble. Without further ado, let me introduce the best guests. Las Vegas police officer, three-time officer of the year, Detective Fil Ramos. He spells his name the right way, P-H-I-L. I only say that because Phil is not here, F-I-L. Three-time officer of the year, undercover narcotics, and Harley driving. What else can I tell you about Fil Ramos? All-around great guy. And then, of course, he was a homicide detective for many years as well. Dr. Detective Troy Looney. He's going to be launching his show on the second channel, bringing you more and more episodes. It is Dr. Detective, and that is because he has a PhD and I don't, which is why they call him Doctor. And he, too, he's doing financial crimes. He's still an active detective in Akron, Ohio, but not for that much longer. That is the home of LeBron James, by the way. And there you go. And now he is winding down his storied three-decade career. Before we get into the serious stuff here, we're going to watch the police interview. That's what we've been doing lately. I don't know why it took me this long to kind of figure this out, but I've got the best detectives in the country here. And so why not watch some of these high-profile interviews? So that's what we've been doing, and that's what we're going to continue to do today. Before I get there, Fil Ramos, I need a little advice. I know you're a grandfather. You've been around the planet for a while. I've got 3 kids. I love them to death, but they're sloppy messes. And last night, the wife and I, the COE, we stayed up late. I got something to hang up in the bedroom. We did that. And 7:15 this morning, I called a family meeting while the COE was still snoring and huddled my kids up. And I said, I put in some stuff for them to kind of create a room. And I said, once that's done, then that they will have to be neat and orderly. And I said to them, starting today, if I see stuff laying around the house that does not belong, let's say, in the living room or the dining room, like a pair of sneakers on the table, let's say, I am throwing them out, and you will find out about it. Now, I don't know if I'll actually throw it out. I don't know if I'm tough enough to do that. Fil Ramos, what is your paternal, grandfatherly advice? Do I have to drop the hammer on these kids? I mean this with so much love. The COE, my beloved wife, is not the neatest person in the world. I, on the other hand, try to stay fairly well organized, hang towels up, things of that nature. So what is your advice? Do I need to drop the hammer on these kids finally to teach them to keep this house We go to other people's homes. They're always neat and orderly. My house always looks like a tornado has gone through it. Your advice, Phil?
Well, I would make them think that you got rid of their stuff, get a garbage bag and put it in there, and then hide the garbage bag. And when they come looking around for it, say, got me? You're supposed to put it away. I don't know where it is. Let that play out for a little bit. And honestly, this is one thing I did because my kids were the same way. I took their damn doors off the hinges and just had a wide open room in there and hit the pins so they couldn't put it back in. I just had them sitting there. But yeah, if you make them think you got rid of their stuff, not really getting rid of it, give them a few days of that and see if they'll come around.
That is an amazing piece of advice. COE, I don't know if you heard that. She's multitasking, but Phil Ramos literally took the doors off the hinges. If I was handy enough, I could do that, but I don't think I'm handy enough to look at this. Someone just said, way to make your kids hate you. Who said that? Barbara Miller. Dr. Detective Troy Looney, you've got older kids.
Yes.
As does Phil Ramos. I got into this business late, the having kids business. And I will pay for it. I probably will never be able to retire because of that. And I have no animosity at all. But your kids, I feel like you are a very intuitively, I feel like you're a very neat person. Otherwise, you would not be a doctor. You're organized. Are you neat? And what is your advice to my children about being slobs?
Oh, boy. So
I'm going to make them watch this, by the way.
I am a neat mess, I guess. So I tend to have things organized, but it's still kind of there, right? So I have piles of things in different places, but I do keep things kind of orderly, but no, not extremely neat. My wife talks about me having things on the couch. There's books there, there's like the computers and things I've ordered, right? So even in the separate office, it's still like cluttered, but we're all just human, right? So I guess advice-wise, I don't know. Maybe wait until afternoon to try to have a meeting. Try to meet with them after they're awake.
They were dazed and confused. Canine Captain, our friend in Maui, talking about the COE because she's too busy taking care of 3 kids, 2 dogs, and you, Joel. Now I do take care of the dogs. Let me at least take control of that. Get used to it, Joel. Like the mother that took away Wi-Fi from the 3 daughters, and they took a knife to her in Texas. Ooh. Yeah, it's getting crazy. Taking little iPads away. What about that, Phil Ramos? My kids are all actively addicted to their various devices. My son is the worst because he plays soccer games on there. Should I rip that thing out of his hands? I mean, he plays baseball. He's playing basketball. I have him outside doing stuff. But do I need to rip the iPads off of his, claw his fingers off of those iPads?
Yeah, man, that's a tough one. We have a lot of our free time spent with our 2 granddaughters, our 2 teenage granddaughters, 15 and 13, and they're glued to their hands. So what my wife said is, look, we're going to have dinner time. We're going to watch movies. We're going to do board games. And if I see those phones come out, they're going in the drawer, and you won't see them until it's time to go back home. And so she sets a time limit on them, because it's not practical to think that the kids are just going to completely go zero on their devices. So if you give them okay, so you got 2 hours from 4 to 6. After that, no, or something like that. And now our daughter, she is the mother of these 2 kids. She's hardcore, man. She just completely takes the phones away and puts them in the freezer. And, and I thought, man, isn't that going to mess up the phones? But apparently it doesn't.
Really? And do they know that they're in the freezer? Like, do they go to look for them in the freezer? This is fascinating.
I think so, because they'll come over. Papa, if you want to get a hold of us, you got to call Mom. She took our phones away. I said, what you guys do now? And, well, I didn't mean to do that. And blah, blah, blah. I was cleaning my room, but I forgot. I said, you forgot because you were on your phone. Yeah. Well, yeah. I said, well, there you go.
Now, Ramos, if your kids had cell phones when they were teenagers, would you have put them in the freezer?
Probably.
Yeah.
But you know,
Uh-oh.
it's hard being parents and grandparents these days because these kids have so much more stuff than we ever had, we ever even dreamed of. You know, so it's a dilemma that we never knew how to handle because it wasn't around when we were trying to handle things like that. But you know, it's just a
Right.
different world now. You have to adjust your discipline accordingly.
Yeah, we had
Look at
little
it.
green army men, right? The little
Yeah,
plastic figures.
I
yeah.
love those guys, by the way. I
Right.
love those. Wow,
Right.
I haven't seen those in a while. Coco here. Kids need structure. Be firm. Set standards. Be fair and loving. Then
Yeah.
you've got this. I can tell you that the ex-husband did shite like this, and guess who they still talk to? Not the husband. And then there's this one. This one always works. Money, bribery. Pay them. Money always worked on us. My kids live in Miami. They're spoiled little kids, but I don't know if that money will even work. But anyway, no, my kids are actually really good kids. I just need them to not hang up towels on the floor, and I am taking control now. And look at this. Just to make me less anxious heading into the weekend. Breaking news, Joel. Kids do not get any less expensive as they get older. I seriously could probably retire if I was not married and had kids right now. Maybe. I live a simple life, relatively speaking. I haven't seen the COE in here, which is making me nervous. Not because she's not here, but because I'm not seeing her react to this, and I'm not sure how that. Oh wait, hold on. That's because I'm babysitting him constantly. Let me know if you want an extra pug, kid, or dogs are a pain in the ass too. Ramos, are you a dog person? Do you have dog? We're getting to Stephan Sterns. Everyone, Fridays are a little different here at STS. It's been a long week, and we're getting. By the way, we're streaming Lori Vallow starting Monday. As you know, I'm refusing to. Yeah, the Rachel Morin trial did start, and by the way, I've been talking to Doug McGregor. There are no cameras, and thank you for bringing this up. There are no cameras. Rachel Morin is the mother of 5, 37 years old, who was killed on a hiking trail in Maryland. But Doug McGregor is going to pick this up next week because he has been there to see the hiking trail. After he did the show with us, he became friendly with the family, and he's going to pick this up next week. Ned Smith reminding me that I am saying some of this stuff out loud. What was I just saying, Phil? I have a senior mo. Was I just about to ask you something?
Yeah, but you got cut off, or you,
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
the
Oh,
squirrel
dogs.
ran
Do you have Ramos? Are
Oh,
you a dog person?
yeah, I am a dog person. However, the dogs that we have are 2 little Maltese, and
Oh
they're
boy.
a pain in my butt, man. I'm like a German Shepherd guy, and my wife's little dogs are
Mm,
keep you awake at night. They got that high shrill bark, that like yippy bark at 3 in the morning and right outside the bedroom window, and I'm like, oh God, here we go again. And
yeah.
they bark at the wind. They actually bark at the wind.
Troy Looney, do you have pets? Do you have a giant
We have a
iguana
pet.
or something?
We do have a pet rabbit. So he's like a lionhead rabbit. His name is Mo Fasa, right? Like,
Uh,
so
Wait,
yeah, he's
what's a lion head rabbit?
has like a lot of more like the fur around like the
Like the
like kind of
mane?
like a
Huh?
mane, I guess, essentially. But it doesn't always sit up. But
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
cool.
we had a dog and may get another one, but we'll see.
There you go.
Yes.
Diane in Tennessee. She is having surgery, so prayers from STS Nation that all goes well. Canine Catherine reminding for the new people, the first half hour of the Friday show is Joel. I'm not really whining. I think I'm being quite positive today. I'm looking for solutions to sloppy, messy kids. I am completely taking control. The house just looks like a bomb has gone off in it. I don't know if anyone knows this, and then I promise I'll start the show, but I have a master's degree in education, and my very first job out of college, well, I got a master's degree after college. And then I taught inner city kids in a part of Manhattan, Washington Heights, where the undercover police cars are yellow taxi cabs. It's a dangerous part. The first day I ever taught, there was a shooting, like right, not at the school, but basically at the school during the day. And all the kids were children of single moms. I don't think there was a father there, maybe one. And the moms were about 16 years old. And I was early 20s. And it was amazing. Like it was young kids, like 5-year-old kids. Don't ask me what I was doing. I have no idea why I did that, or I could never have been a teacher. But the reason I bring this all up is I had no idea what I was doing. But I got along with the kids great. And, I'd go and visit them. It was like a special program. So I'd go to their, they all lived in like the housing projects there, and I'd go and have to visit them. And it was not easy, but, my room, my whole thing was I just wanted them to have fun because their lives at home were so bad. So my classroom was kind of like my house. It was utter chaos, tornado, kids going nuts, running around. I honestly don't know how I survived that. Anyway, long story short, we had these state evaluations, and the other teachers, they got all tense and nervous, and they came, and lo and behold, this is a true crime show. But lo and behold, the state people came to whatever they survey what's going on, and I got top marks for having a classroom where the kids were thriving. They said that they loved the chaos and allowed them to be free and happy, and so maybe that is the moral of this story. So maybe I'll continue to let them be complete sloppy messes, but it ain't happening. All right. So there we go. So Stephan Sterns, not a guy that a lot of people love to talk about. We did a show earlier this week. Again, he has over 60 counts of SA that he is facing. First-degree murder and the strangulation death of Maddie Soto. He calls his parents. There's a jailhouse call where you hear him talking about how he went to touch her and she was ice cold. We'd never heard this sort of thing. So that was talking to his parents. This is him talking to police. A lot of this was just released in the last few weeks. I'm going to play it. And I don't know that Dr. Detective has done this yet with us, but Fil Ramos has. So I'm going to play it out. If there's a part you want me to stop on, raise your hand. When there's something that I see, I will stop it, and we will break this down. We'll do it for a little while, and then we'll get to the top true crime stories of the week. Some more whining from me, and we'll call it a day. Here we go. This is beginning of the interview.
Stephan. How you doing, sir? Sorry. That's okay. Didn't mean to wake you up. I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Mark. I work
COE, stop that for 1 minute. I don't think I have control. COE, yeah, I think you're the only one that can control this. Fil Ramos, in your career, how often do you go into the interview room and the person you're about to interview is basically dead asleep on the table? If it was me and I was accused of these crimes, I think my anxiety level would probably be a little bit high, and it'd be tough to have to get a nap in there. But how often is this common for someone to be sleeping?
No, it's not that common, but when it does present itself, you got to figure this guy has been stressing so much about being in that position that he's in, and he's just exhausted, and he's just like, okay, they got me. Let me see what happens from here. And you use that as a tool. You try and get him thinking that you're sympathetic to him being asleep and tired and all that's been going on, and you use that to your advantage. It's part of establishing, as ironic as it seems, some camaraderie with the bad guy, because you got to get him to tell you everything. And if you are doing you're going to prison the rest of your life, you dirty POS, and blah, 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 we got you, and just, yeah, you do that, they're going to shut down and pull away. You want them to open up, and the way they open up is if you think they're sympathetic to you. I've actually told bad guys before, I said, hey man, I get it. I probably would have killed somebody for that very same reason that you just told me, man. I don't blame you. It's not how you feel, but that's what you say to get sympathy from them. So, yeah, man, yeah, that's what happened. and then you go from there.
Yeah, Troy Looney. I mean, I'm seeing someone saying that they wouldn't even want to shake his hand. Another person saying, "I hope he washed his hands after touching this guy." This person says, "I'm obsessed with this case." By the way, the mother is not been charged, but she is definitely a person that people are interested in finding more out about. But what about that point that Phil Ramos makes? Is it tough for you, especially with an accused criminal like this, who's accused of probably the worst type of act? Is it tough for you to kind of create that camaraderie because of the evil he is accused of?
No, it's again, as Phil said, it's a matter of establishing a rapport. You want to be, human and, seem compassionate when you walk in. So, I make it a point as well, just to, greet them, Mr. Sterns, how are you? I'm so and so. Introduce ourselves, maybe even shake a hand as they did, right? So, they're giving him a chance to get his bearings after he's apparently either asleep or resting. So, we don't know how much, how soon he was brought in or what his past evening was like. So, again, obviously he's not resting well. And this is just the prep point. So yeah, that first interaction can be everything, right? As Phil said, maybe they're shut down if you come in, appear to have an attitude or, just kind of arrogant. You just have to really meet people where they are to understand and build that rapport.
Well said. All right, COE, let's go to the videotape, as Warner Wolf would say in New York sports.
I understand you've been here for a little bit. So just to give you a little bit of background, the reason we are here now is because and yourself reside.
Okay. Some of this is redacted.
So initially they thought, since I went to school, dropped off at school, and it would be an Orange County case. It seems like since she lives in, that's the reason we're going to do the case. Okay. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me just grab some things here real quick.
I could just 1 second.
Yeah.
Right.
COE, you have to. I can't stop it on my end too. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, interesting thing about this. Look at his posture, right? So he's not yet comfortable, right? I know we're going to do this continuously, but he's not yet comfortable. He's like, what are they going to ask me? Like, what is, he knows what he did, but interesting part.
Yeah, I mean, the body language, Phil Ramos, is striking. I mean, he is, covered up turtling, as Ned Smith just said. Also, yes. When we watched the Wendy Adelson interview, it was one police officer. Now you've got partners in here. Phil, the other Phil always talks about the room setup. Are you pleased with the way these guys are set up? You see that Coke can, but there's nothing really else between them. Are you like, what was your preferred setup method, Phil, for the room?
Well, one of the things, excuse me, one of the things that we run into on videos like this when we're showing them to a jury or during discovery, a defense attorney is always going to say, if he wasn't under arrest, did he realize he could leave at any time he wanted to? And you tell them that going in. You don't have to talk to us. If you want to go, you're free to go. The problem here is this pretty stout detective is between him and the door. So they're going to make noise about that. And he says, well, if he was free to leave, why were you blocking the path that he needed to take to leave if he wanted to? We keep that in mind, or at least I did, my partner did, and we always let them sit by the door, and we would be like switched around. We would be over here on the corner, my partner and I, and the suspect would be right there by the door, so that if he wanted to leave, he could leave. Now, we always had somebody outside that door in case he bolted, and it was not something that we wanted to happen. But you got to let them know, because this will become a defense issue, that no, you're not under arrest, you're free to go. But they're going to say, how could he go? He had two big detectives blocking the doorway, so he didn't feel like he was free to go. So he felt like he was in custody. That's just a observation. The way we set ours up, you always let them be close to the door so that they don't feel trapped and intimidated. That's part of that establishing rapport.
That's actually super interesting. So here, I mean, I guess you could make the case. I felt trapped in there. This big guy's in front of me. Look at this, Mumbai, India. Lest you think we are not a global powerhouse. Mumbai is in the house here. Yeah, this body language is wild. It's interesting what Phil just said about that, and I'm just otherwise it's not the most uplifting room, just barren walls, getting ready for what prison's going to be like. So let's keep playing this out, COE, and we'll see his tone of voice, his affect is interesting to me, totally flat. But COE, let's continue to roll the videotape here.
You were brought up here by detectives, right? Detectives drove you? Okay. And that was earlier today.
I have no idea how long ago that was.
It was sometime today.
Sometime today.
Yeah. So being that you're here, we're here, you were taken here by detectives, I just need to get this out of the way just so we can talk about how we're missing or where she may be, okay? All right. Have you ever been in trouble ever in your life?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever had your rights read to you at any point in your life?
I must have.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm going to do them again just to get it out of the way, and then we can talk about you taking school and stuff like that, okay? All right. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning. Do you understand these rights? Okay, perfect. All right. So before we start talking, one last thing. Can you just raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that the statement you're about to give is the truth, nothing but the truth, to the best of your knowledge, so help you God?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. All right.
Hold that, COE. I personally don't think I've ever seen an officer ask someone to raise their hand. Phil Ramos, is that unusual? I mean, he's not a judge.
Right. I've never seen that ever. I've never even heard of it. I'm really surprised about that. I don't know what his point was to do that, because he's certainly not in a judicial proceeding where it's a recorded trial or anything like that. That you're just that kind of caught me off guard there. I kind of sat back when I heard that. I said, "What the hell is he doing?"
I was wondering the same thing. Dr. Detective, have you seen that before? Have you ever done that?
No, I've not seen that. And another interesting thing, there's a can there. It looks like Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper. That is a huge no-no for us. Based on past experience, we've had people that have cut their wrists with that. So we'll get them a soda, but pop whatever. But we'll give him a plastic cup. But it looks like he has water too. But no, I've never seen someone raise their hand. Interesting way he read Miranda also. Definitely.
Interesting how. I mean, he was reading it, but how
so?
So?
Yeah, essentially there are key points there. But the last question, it would have been, having all these rights in mind, you want to talk to us. I never read that because technically we don't have to. But I appreciate the way he delivered. The raising of the hand is a little different. That's very different. I've never seen that.
Yeah. And that's interesting. Ramos, how about you? Do you let soda cans? They say pop in Ohio, which drives me crazy.
Right.
No offense, Dr. Detective, yeah. Do you allow cans in the interview room, or what Dr. Detective just said, they can be used as weapons, or
Sometimes it depends on the person. We always offer them water or coffee or something like that. But in our office we didn't have much soda pop in there, so. But it all depends on how it goes. If things are going good, then yeah, I've actually fed people that I was talking to. You know, hey, are you hungry? You want a burger or something? And send somebody out to McDonald's and get them a Big Mac.
And Phil,
it all
when you
depends on circumstances.
And Phil, when you said, I'm sorry, that you know, like you sit in a different arrangement, but you always have someone out there.
Yeah.
Have you had situations where someone's just tried to run out? What do you do?
Yeah. You let the guys outside grab them and bring them back in, and then you say, hey, what the hell was that about? You know, but he goes, well, I didn't want to talk to you anymore. So why did you run? Why did you just say, look, I'm done talking. Am I free to go? Yeah, you're free to go. Go. You know, when they bolt like that, it's what we call a consciousness of guilt, and you wonder, why didn't you just say, I don't want to talk to you guys anymore, I'm leaving, instead of, you know, jumping for the door, because those are two wholly different reactions. And you know, I'm with Troy. The reading of the Miranda was obviously he's in custody, because that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that you only read Miranda to people that are under arrest. That's what it says on the card. Rights of persons arrested, not rights of persons being interviewed or rights of persons you're talking to. It's rights of persons arrested. That's when Miranda is required, when someone's in custody and they're not free to go, and you're going to talk to them about a specific crime. Those are the requirements for Miranda.
By the way, the new show that Dr. Detective has coming out is we've launched a second channel called True Crime Talk, that kind of modeling after sports talk radio, where you can turn on and listen to different experts speak about true crime. And the handle is STS Talk, at STS Talk on YouTube. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And again, next week on this channel, we're streaming Lori Vallow. But COE, let this play, and I'll try not to interrupt every 4 seconds like I've been doing so far.
Your relationship with, and we just talked to a little bit. So, how long have you been together?
7 years, 6 or 7 years, close to it.
Where'd you meet her?
Work.
Where was that at?
We worked for a home building company. It's no longer in business, but we were both in the call center area.
Oh, okay. So like selling homes, or?
Yeah. Best friends for about a year before we made it official.
Gotcha. So you consider you and her boyfriend, girlfriend? Okay. Any engagement plans or anything like that?
No labels, nothing. We were just happy.
Okay. And how long have you lived in with him? Because I know it says she's lived in for years.
Yeah. Off and on for years myself.
Okay. Any family that lives in?
No.
Okay. So on and off, how long do you think it would be?
This stretch, 2 or 3 years.
Okay. Kind of mentioned that you two maybe split up for a little bit in December, you know, then you moved back to wherever your parents live. And where's that at?
It's in Northport, it's down by Sarasota.
Okay, so on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. So I understand you had a recently. She had a party Sunday. Is that right?
Sunday, yeah.
Okay.
So
did you come to the party?
No, I was not. I was on my way up at that point.
Okay. So the party ends. Did you pick them up from the party?
Someone must have dropped her off.
Okay.
She was there when I got there. Asked me to make sure that I was getting into the shower and did her bedtime routines, which she did. She was already on top of it, so nothing to do there.
Okay. What time do you think you got back?
What time I got in there?
Yeah.
Maybe 8 o'clock, 8:30ish, something like that.
And I apologize if you've answered these questions before. It's just like I said, we're coming into the game late. So I may ask you things that you've already answered probably 3 or 4 times.
I
And I
apologize as well. My memory is not super reliable on time frames. I've been medicated for the better part of a week.
Okay, that's fine. What do you take medicine for?
Anxiety mostly. Been having some money troubles lately. Anxious over that. So.
Okay, well, hopefully your money troubles get
COE, hold that for 1 sec.
Medicated on Ativan since probably.
So Phil Ramos, interesting. I mean, he's telling him, you saw him yawn. He yawned a few minutes ago. I was going to stop it then. But he says, he admits openly now in this interview that he's been on anxiety meds for the better part of a week. He mentions Ativan, legally speaking, because, the thing that I've learned among a billion things from these guys, from talking to guys like Phil Ramos and Dr. Detective Troy Looney, is that the investigation is only the beginning. You've got to make this kosher in a courtroom. Shout out to us for gifting 5. Look at this. Shout out to us for gifting 5 memberships. But Phil, you've got to dot your I's and cross your T's. What kind of, I guess, potential courtroom liability is there to continue an interview if someone is telling you that they're on these heavy anxiety meds and the guy's yawning? You have to make note of it. You have to follow up with questions. How do you know you're okay to go on with the interview?
Well, yeah, you are okay, but you need to make that clear. You need to get that on the record. And you're on Ativan for what? Do you know what your dose is? How often was the last time you took it? Or is it affecting you right now? You ask those questions because, again, expecting defense fodder that you talked to my client and you knew that he was under the influence of a controlled substance, and how do you know you could believe him? The defense attorneys come up with all kinds of BS, and I know it's just a few minutes into it, but I think one of our guests, Tiff, I think, noticed this guy is still closed off. So these guys aren't getting that rapport established. But it's still early, so he's still. I mean, look how tight his arms are. He's looking down, no eye contact, his head's down. All of that is telling these guys, back off a little bit. Get him a little more relaxed so that he speaks more openly to you. As far as the Ativan question goes, I would ask a few more questions about that, and then reiterate to them, you still want to talk to us. You feel like you're okay to speak to us clearly and intelligently. You make him say that. You don't say it yourself. You say, "Are you okay to still keep talking to us?" And that's just something that you got to get cleared up.
Yeah, and Dr. Detective, when do you get discouraged by this body language where you're like, I can't get this guy to open up. He's curled in a ball. You don't, that's not.
It's not so much discouraged, but just you continue to talk, and like Phil said, key points. As soon as he mentions medication, definitely. When's the last time you took it? And interesting thing about his eye contact, also, he's kind of like looking in the middle of them or looking at their paperwork. So he's listening, but he's also trying to figure out how much do these guys know, where things going to go from here. And then his apology, very, very interesting. Like, he just automatically apologizes, almost like to say, I'm sorry for us being here, or maybe it could have a couple different things to consider there, I guess, or meanings behind it. But yeah, he's not quite comfortable. And maybe even, I'm not sure if he has additional shirts or one sweatshirt, but yeah, we'd have people kind of, take the additional clothing, belts and things off, maybe the hat, because he's still a little bit comfortable, but he is nervous. He's nervous.
By the way, what is it? Is it just normal? You guys keep it normal room temperatures, a little on the cold side to keep people awake?
It really depends. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Okay. So COE, let's play this. Interesting observations up to this point. Let her rip.
Saturday.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So when you got to the apartment, what happened?
Made some dinner. Made some ramen. I love how I make my ramen. Then we started watching Sister Act, but it was time for her to start getting ready for bed. Her mom got home basically just as we were starting Sister Act.
Okay.
And that was just about bedtime.
What time is bedtime?
Usually 10:30, 11ish, something
Okay.
like that. It's a spectrum, not a set time.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Idaho.
Then, so who's going through the bedtime routine? Because I know she said she has somewhat of a little routine too that she does. Is it her? Are you talking about? Or
Routine is, taking her meds, eating some food so that she can have the proper calories for the meds. And then she's got about an hour to do whatever she needs to do because she needs to fall asleep at that point.
Okay, gotcha.
Her bedtime routine is taking her bedtime meds, brushing her hair. She should have showered that night, and then she goes to bed as well. Usually with some moms or something on in the background. Mom's burgers.
Got it. What are the sleeping arrangements?
Typically sleeps in her mom's bed with her.
Okay. Did she sleep in her bed Sunday night?
No. I was just back. I'd been away for a couple months. I wanted us all to be in the same bed together. So her mom needed to get some serious sleep. So she said no to that and suggested that the guest room upstairs had a big enough bed. So needed some snuggle cuddle time that would suffice and get to sleep in peace.
Okay. So you say snuggle time. What does that mean?
Does not like to be alone. She is extremely dependent. She does not like to be alone at all. She needs human presence around her.
COE, stop that.
Gotcha.
Thank you. I wish I could do it on my own. People are going to say he's so rude to his wife. He just yelled to. I don't have control. I have no control. I have no control. I have no way to stop it. So I'm just yelling out. Fil Ramos. Man, this just got creepy real fast. Now he's talking about 11 o'clock and he's talking about snuggle time. And now he's talking about how she's dependent. What is happening to you in that interview room? Not him, but to you when you start hearing snuggle time.
Well, I'm thinking, okay, now we're going to get somewhere here and find out what this is all about because that's just not right, man. That's I think she was 14.
13.
Yeah. Little Maddie, 13-year-old girl sleeping and cuddling with a grown-ass man like that. That's, you want to get into that, but you have to be very delicate about it because you don't want to push him away and not get him to say, well, how come a 13-year-old girl needs snuggle time with you? Why not her mom? Parent is a whole different thing, but when you're talking about a boyfriend or someone that's not related to her, in my view, that's a big red flag. Number one, what is the history behind this poor little girl needing snuggle time when she's 13? Is it, and he's been gone, he said, for a couple of months. So why does she need snuggle time with him and not snuggle time with her mom? That's something that I would go full force into, but very delicately, so as not to shut him down. Make it sound like you're curious and let him think that, well, you've got some insight here on what's going on, so please tell me what this is all about. You always have your plan on what you want to cover with the bad guy, but when that came up, that plan might go out the window because you want to zero in on that and pull it out from him as quick as you can, because it's going to occur to him, oh crap, I shouldn't have said that. They got me. I'm not going to say anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would go all over that, but walk the tightrope with it.
Yeah. The thing I'm curious about that I would have such a hard time with is just like the human side of it. Dr. Detective, you got to sit there and listen to a guy tell you about things that he did to a young girl, or you've got children. Like, how do you keep that divide up without losing it as a detective?
Again, so we're trying to make him more comfortable. So, the more he talks, the more comfortable he should become if we built the proper rapport. So again, as Phil said, when those phrases like snuggle time come out, that's not a common phrase, period. And I'd ask more questions about, well, did you ever have snuggle time with her yourself, or maybe draw a picture, like pull out a plain sheet of paper and say, how did you, what was the sleeping arrangement? Were you like, was she in the middle of you, or were you all together, or do you ever sleep on the floor all together like a camp out, or maybe provide a different kind of theme to it so it softens the concept of him just being close in contact with her. So there's a couple of different ways to address and I guess expand on that scenario.
Love you right back, K9 Catherine in Maui. A lot of people here do think that Jen Soto, the mother, and when you hear the jailhouse calls between Stephan Sterns and his parents, he basically tells his parents that Jen knew about everything, and whether she's culpable because of that is up for law enforcement to figure out. But we'll keep playing this. Buckle in here because it's going to probably get a lot creepier. COE, pretty please.
Right, she just turned.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been trying to wean her off of that, but it's been difficult.
What about her father, biological father?
He lives in Kansas or Texas right now. I think he's on his way down to help.
Gotcha. Okay.
Last I heard.
All right. So, says you go up so you can spend her time, snuggle time with you to help her go to sleep. Is that right?
Just bedtime, yeah.
Bedtime. Okay. Did you stay in the room the entire night?
Not the entire night. I'm usually up and down sometimes. So I might go grab a drink or something, or yeah, I'm up and down sometimes.
Gotcha. But you stayed. You didn't at any point go sleep in bed.
No.
Okay. All right. So night goes on. Morning time comes around, and it's time for to go to school. Walk me through that a little bit.
Oh, jeez. His life is on the
morning
line.
routine. She usually starts waking up. We set about 3 alarms. First one goes off, and we let her keep snoozing.
Do you remember what time her alarm goes off? What?
Not really. Maybe 7:30ish. I'm not sure. Alarm goes off. We let her snooze about 3 times while we start getting ourselves ready. And after the 3rd snooze, it's time for her to get up for real and start getting ready. Typically, she will have showered the night before, so she needs to brush her hair, brush her teeth. Excuse me. Get her book bag together. Eat some breakfast if she's going to eat there. And then we eventually make our way out the door.
Okay. So walk me through, like, you leave, you take her to school in your car?
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of car do you have?
It's a Lincoln. It's actually my parents' car because my car is down south. It needs maintenance, and we're scared to drive it too much. So I'm driving a Lincoln right now. Got out early. The plan was to get some McDonald's on the way. So we got out nice and early.
Do you remember what time you left, roughly?
Not 100%.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My memory has not been super reliable.
No, that's fine.
But it was early. Maybe 7:30, 7:45, something like that. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not certain.
That's fine.
The plan
was awake when you guys left?
Semi-awake. I was giving her updates as we were going along. Getting ready, she's getting dressed. We're leaving now. Goodbye. and she was sleeping in. So I was just giving her little updates and poking my head in as we went. But we leave the house. We start making our way to the school. Just sleep in the car for most of the time. We make our way over towards her school area. I ask her if she's still in the mood for McDonald's.
COE, hold that there for a minute. Okay, so this is important, and I think it's interesting. So this is still February, and Maddie's body's not discovered, I think, till March 1st. So, and they arrest him 2 days after she goes missing. So this is probably, Vesper will probably know this. Vesper Martini, she's on top of everything. But I believe this might be the day that he is arrested. But Fil Ramos, the detectives don't know that she's dead yet because her body hasn't been discovered. They might have an idea that she is. And we find out in the jailhouse calls, at least according to what he was saying on those calls, that he found her dead, I think, the night before. But now he's creating this whole series of events that happened the morning of, the McDonald's thing, driving her, hit the snooze button 3 times. But I'm watching him speak about it, and it's like, I mean, this is a fictional tale that he's creating. But the detectives don't quite know that yet. So, they're trying to figure it out. It's interesting because we're watching it in retrospect, but in real time, when they're interviewing him at this point, they didn't really know what was going on. And he's got this whole story. So how do you know that it is a story and where to pick it apart?
Well, because his body language is telling you everything right there. He's looking down at the table. He hasn't opened up at all. That big, long yawn that he did a few minutes ago was him trying to figure out what he's going to say. That wasn't a natural yawn at all. It was, like a fake laugh. He was trying to figure out what his response is going to be to the questions, and he still just has that look, man. He's just not going to give up anything at this particular point, and coming up with some ridiculous stories and reasons. And I'm kind of surprised why the detectives didn't go back or expand on that cuddle time and sleeping with her and what that was all about. But that might be part of their plan and their strategy too. So I can't speak intelligently about what their plan is and their strategy. But they clearly would have made note of that, because they got to come back around to that and really dig into those details of what the sleeping arrangements were between this obviously older man and a little teenage girl. That's just something that has to be explored as best as you can.
Annie Kay here, friend of the show, and her dad did a lot of work with young victims. And the psychology of it. What would the panel ask, Dr. Detective, that hasn't been asked yet, or how might they have directed this interview differently? Is there anything that jumps out at you, Dr. Detective, that you'd be doing differently right now?
Yes. So a couple things came to mind. When he mentioned, I'm sorry, my memory's not that great, but his memory seems to be pretty meticulous on times. So it varies, right? And he's looking down, and of course the fake yawn, he holds his hand up like, hold on 1 second, as if to say, give me more time. So again, the timeline is everything in this, right? Whether we know all the facts or details, right? He says, we plan to go to McDonald's, but then he leaves huge gaps in the statement of saying, I asked her if she wanted to still go to McDonald's. The time between leaving the home and her alleged arrival to school, or taking her to school. So there's huge gaps in there, right? And I know we haven't seen the entire interview, but yeah, just his behavior is way off. It's interesting also, the other detective is still silent. So Sterns trying to figure out, what is on his mind, or what's his role in terms of what he may ask, or what is he thinking.
Vesper, I'm calling on you because I see you in the chat. If you know some of these questions, people are asking at what point did they seize his phone? I think they had his phone prior to this interview, but if you have any little, there it is, Sunshine asking that question. You can fill in some of the blanks if you want to give us a little timeline. But COE, let's play this out. Continue to go here.
Okay. Continued on. It was still pretty early, though, I think. We still had some time to kill. It wasn't really time to drop her off yet. I had apparently forgotten my clicker key fob for the gate. So I ended up actually turning around at some point and going back to the community to get the clicker. I had to use my parking sticker to get in for the guy to scan. I had some errands to run afterwards, and I wanted to have my phone. But we still had plenty of time as far as I knew. So we did that, grabbed the clicker, left again, and that's when we drove over to her school area, and I dropped her off where I dropped her off.
Okay. Do you remember where you dropped her off?
Yeah, it was the stretch of road, I forget the street name. It was the stretch of road that the school is on. Make a right onto it. It goes down a little ways. There's some communities over here, and up further there's a church, and then there's the overpass and the school on the other side of the overpass right there. I dropped her off on that stretch where the communities are.
Was she by herself when you dropped her, or was her friends there?
Yeah, she was by herself. She said she was going to go find her friends and hang out, wait for them to show up.
Okay.
It was still early.
Where did you go after that? Did you see her walk towards the...
I saw her making her way towards the direction of the school, but she was like kind of shuffle step. She was meandering her way there. She was rummaging through her backpack for something. I assume she was looking for headphones, maybe. But as it turns out, she did leave her phone at home that day, so she might have actually been looking for her phone.
Gotcha, okay. What was she wearing when she left, or when you dropped her off?
Green hoodie, black shorts, black or blue, black shorts, white Crocs.
White Crocs. Okay. All right, so she's walking towards the school. Do you continue straight when you leave, or do you turn around?
I turned around and went back the other way. I was watching her in my rearview mirror, and she was going the right direction, so it looked okay.
And where did you go after that?
The next stop I wanted to go to was the vape shop. It opened at 10, so I had a little while, so I just kind of meandered around and eventually made my way over there to wait for it to open. It didn't open when it was supposed to, so I left and came home, and then went back about an hour later when I was sure it would have to be open at that point. Got what I needed there.
Can we get 1 second?
Made my way
Yeah,
back
stop
home
that,
again.
COE. Another crazy yawn. It was like triple the other yawn. But go ahead, Dr. Detective.
Oh, yeah. I know we're doing this, going to prolong this, but just key things. I know this may be part of their strategy, like Phil said, but you want to still let him talk. But if I'm noticing he's building gaps or trying to cover his gaps of time, unaccounted for whereabouts. And I went back and I left my key clicker, or she left her phone. And so interesting things, but yeah, as he's trying to, I guess, maneuver or BS, as someone mentioned in the comments. There's a lot of that. So interesting.
Vesper, I know I'm leaning on you a lot. She says here, defense states that his cell phone was obtained from an unlawful seizure, Phil Ramos. So they probably asked for his phone and he gave to them since he had done a factory reset. He tried and didn't think law enforcement would be able to get into it. Vesper, let me know if you think, so the trial is slated for May 5th. It's just on the SA charges, not the murder charges. I've heard different things that they might go together later in time, but Vesper, if you've heard otherwise, let me know. But Phil, what about, they do have the phone, if they do have the phone, which they do, but now the defense is basically crying foul. How careful do you have to be with that phone? I mean, how do you make sure that you're okay to go through it?
Well, they should have gotten a search warrant after he gave it to them. From what I've determined in reading about this, is he volunteered the phone to the cops, and what his thinking was, and I think Vesper's right there that he was thinking, well, I reset it, so they're not going to get into it. But let me tell you, man, if it's in that phone, it don't matter what you do, we can find it. That the technology is right there. So I would have gotten, so there would be two search warrants for the phone: one to get the phone itself, and then one to extrapolate the information that was inside of it. And judges are reluctant to give a blanket search warrant for the phone because you have to articulate what it's going to be. It's like if you grab a big filing cabinet, you get search warrant for the filing cabinet. The filing cabinet's sitting there. Now you want to go into the filing cabinet, and you need to articulate what you want to find in that filing cabinet. Evidence of what crime and what you expect to find in there. Because if you go in there and find a bunch of bank statements and you're looking for, child pornography, then the search warrant would be too broad. So you have to be specific about what it is you're trying to get out of the phone, and that would be evidence of a crime, i.e., murders, SA, fraud, whatever it is, like that. So I don't know enough about the case. If the cops did that, if they did get a search warrant to examine the inside of the phone, but it's certainly something that would be an advantage to them. And if that's the case, then the attorney is going to say, no, we can't have them getting this information into the courts because, ABC, because that's going to fry his butt. If everything that in that phone is allowed in, if the judge sees fit to allow it in, this guy's done.
Phil, let me ask you. I mean, you're not a psychologist, but you might as well be one because you're a detective. So, and you've sadly dealt with these cases, I'm sure, in your career. Rachel D, who's a friend of the show, is saying that she works in the mental health field and cannot understand how anyone would do this. Is this, in your opinion, just a compulsion that these people cannot control? Like, do you think he knows what he is doing is wrong, but he just can't stop himself from doing it?
Yeah. Anytime you have SA crimes against little kids like this, there's always a psychosexual aspect to it, and something going on in his brain that pushes him to do that, even if he's trying to convince himself that he can't help it and there's nothing he can do about it. That's a whole field that I'm sure will be addressed in the trial. So the guest is right. There's something in his history that's causing him to take advantage of this poor little Maddie who's there for her. She may have her own issues. That's causing her to be in that position because she can't possibly, let me take that back. If she thought that sleeping in the same bed as this man was normal, that's going to have to be addressed too. Why is this poor little 13-year-old thinking that, oh, it's okay to have this man sleeping next to me because I need cuddle time? No, honey, that's not okay. Why? Why do you think that? That should never have happened, which goes to how much did the mom know, how much did the mom allow, and how much was she going to allow before she said, wait a minute, this isn't right. And that should have been right away, right? That should have been right the minute this guy started sleeping in that house.
lot of people are asking, and Julie Frew has the answer here. Why are the SA charges being tried separate from capital murder? The charge of trials are separate as when they seek capital murder, the prior convictions are an aggravating factor. So they're doing it separately for that. The mother had made comments about a Woody Allen situation where he would run away with Maddie. There's something at the very least just way off with Jen Soto, and at the worst, she's complicit, and we'll find that out if that is the case. But okay, let's keep going here. I'm going to try to get through as much of this as possible. We'll see where we end up.
Relaxed, hung out with her for a while. Seems like any other morning.
It was when you got back home after dropping off at school. Was she home at the time?
I think she was on her way home. I think that she had a blood appointment, and we were both kind of going to arrive very shortly within time with each other.
Okay. So when you got home, when both of you got home, walk me through the rest of the day.
Just hung out, chit-chatted. I mean, I don't know. It's not much to recollect.
But you stayed at home pretty much all day, or no?
Pretty much until maybe noon-ish or 1 o'clock. I had a few errands to run. I wanted to be back in time for us to go pick up from school.
Mm-hmm.
So I just ran up and down 192. I ended up getting a flat at some point, which made me somewhere along 192.
192 is a big road.
It is, and honestly, it all looks the same to me. So I've been asked, do you remember what plaza you were next to, what color? And I'm like, I'm ADD as it is, and I was in a medicated fog for the better part of a week. I'm lucky I remember what color I'm wearing right now.
Do you remember what errands you were running?
Yeah, I wanted to go check out some game shops.
Where were these game shops?
There's Coliseum of Comics, there's House Rule Games nearby. A lot of the Targets and Walmarts carry the game I was looking forward to. We just had a new release on Friday, so even though I don't have much in the way of money right now, I still want to go look and see what the situation is.
It's always nice to window shop.
It is. And I may,
COE, hold it there for 1 second. So, Dr. Detective, I mean, look, a lot of people are into gaming, but you're looking at a guy who's in his 40s, with a gray beard, and he's talking about this. I mean, it's almost like he's in Arrested Development, and then he goes, that's like a 13-year-old kid saying, yeah, I don't have the money. I'm low on money, but I wanted to just go look at the games. Does that grab your attention in any way? Like, are you like, this guy is just not a, quote unquote, normal grown up? Like, there's something going on here.
So, yeah, of course, him mentioning that he's trying to disconnect from the situation or scenario. The interesting thing is the detective, if you notice, is moving in closer, right? So he's moving in closer. I think he wants him a little more off balance, or maybe not as comfortable, but the hard questions are coming, essentially, or harder questions. But yeah, mentioning video games, I mean, not at any point have I heard him ask, where do you think Maddie is at this point? So whether they know or not, right? So he's not, he's mentioned dropping her off, but at this point he's just dodging, accountability, and, oh, this is a large road, and they've asked me before about what parking lot or plaza. So he's trying to recollect the previous interviews and then where they are, how much they know. So yeah, it's going to get better.
And Phil Ramos from Ohio Palm Mom, maybe near Akron, where Dr. Detective is. Do you think that the yawning is him trying to look casual and unbothered? I used to know someone that would yawn all the time, and it was like some sort of weird social thing where he wanted to, like, I don't know, appear like uninterested and cool. But what's going on here with the yawn?
Well, I noticed that he yawns when they ask him questions that he knows he can't answer, like, well, What was she wearing that morning? Well, when you dropped her off, and these are all questions that his answers didn't actually happen because he had already killed her, and he didn't take her to school. So in my view, the yawning is him trying to think of what he's going to say by going, and then all the time he's thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? Because if he doesn't want to be stuttering, he doesn't want that to come out, because that obviously he's lying. So I think that what that he's doing is buying some time to come up with an answer that is going to be believable.
Tiff Knox here says yawning equals stalling. Let's keep playing it out, COE.
So I was just driving around up and down 192, sort of just aimlessly, honestly. Just killing time till it was time to go back.
All right. So when you got home, did you go pick up from school?
So I got home. It was 10 minutes later than I had wanted to leave to go get. I missed her by 10 minutes. I called her and said, "Hey, where are you? I'm so sorry. I got a flat." She already left. She had been gone for 10 minutes. It didn't make sense for her to come back and get me. She likes to be the first in line when the kids start coming out.
Okay. Then obviously wasn't at school. So what happened? Did she call you after that, or what?
I was already on the phone with her while she was waiting. We were just chit-chatting. We do that. We just keep each other company, even if we're not physically together. And she's like, "Where's my kid? Not coming out." And that's when we started asking questions. Did she go somewhere else? Did she know that you were going to come pick her up? Did she possibly walk to her grandma's house or her grandma's office, which has kind of been what she's been doing for the past week because her mom has started working a new schedule. So we started making all the calls. And no one had seen her yet. And so that's when we started getting a lot more concerned and panicked. She drove around a little more, looking for her, looking along the walking paths, and didn't see anything. Went to her mom's, grandma's, went to mom's office, not there, waited around, not there, went back to the school, not there. At that point, the whole family started rallying up and going to meet at the mom's office. And, I think that it was around that time we might have called 911 as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Going back to bringing to school, how was she like on the car ride there?
She calmed down, sleeping. Sleeping along the way. She does that.
How often have you taken her to school?
Not often, honestly. This might have been my third or fourth morning school run. I'm not normally the one to do it.
And on the other occasions, has she had you drop her off in and around the same location, or how does that?
She has this image thing. I guess it's just a middle school thing. She only likes to be seen getting out of certain cars in front of the school. Her mom's is acceptable, but mine's, I guess, kind of a hoopty, and she's embarrassed by it.
A Lincoln? What does her mom drive?
A nice looking Sentra. So yeah, this is not the first time she's asked me to drop her off a little ways down so she could walk up and look cool.
So you say she was conked out on the way there. You said you took her to school, or you were on her way to school. You needed to turn around to get your clicker.
Correct.
Was she sleeping then too?
She was. Yeah.
Okay.
It had been an early morning, so I figured it'd be fine to let her sleep in the car ride.
Okay. When you got back to the apartment complex, or did you go in the front gate, or because I know there's the front entrance and then the back entrance?
when I came back after forgetting my phone.
Yeah. So which way did you leave?
I would have had to go in the front.
Okay.
And the guy scanned it. And I got in, got my fob, and left. I don't remember if I left out the front or the back.
Did you stop anywhere else in?
No.
No.
Not that I recall. No.
Okay. Did you take any trash out from the apartment?
The night before, I think I did. I'm not sure. I took the trash out at some point, but I don't remember if it was the night before or it was the morning of. Yeah, sometimes we get trash bags piling up by the door. It stresses her mom out to see them.
Is there like a common trash place, or like is there a dumpster somewhere that people take their trash to?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that where you took the trash out?
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't remember if that was Sunday night or Monday morning?
It could have been Sunday night. I don't recall. I'm sorry, I was in the fog.
Well, okay. So where do you think it is? You don't know?
Hold it right there, COE.
Video of her.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say, hang on a second.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many minutes in, but a good amount now. And is there a tactical reason, Phil Ramos, that he waited till this point to basically say, where is she? Do you know where she is? Like it has not come up really from anyone at this point.
Right. Well, if you noticed, Stearns is becoming a little more relaxed. He's holding eye contact a little bit more. He even unlocked his arms there a couple of times, so he's starting to get a little more at ease, but he's still troubling himself with how to answer these questions that he knows are just flat out lies. And if you notice, when the detective asked him where is little Maddie, he paused for a while. That was a pretty long pause. Didn't know where she's at. As soon as the words come out of his mouth, man, I don't know. We got to go look for her. But he sat there and he thought about it, and then he goes, I don't know. I mean, no, that was a very, very calm reaction to a very serious question.
Is that the kind of thing that you'll go back to watch his reaction again, just to kind of see a little with more clarity? Like, yeah, that was an odd reaction to this important question.
Not necessarily. I mean, those reactions stick with you right away, and you notice them, and you go in the direction that you want to go, depending on how he answers those questions. So right now they haven't got to him. They haven't broken his wall down yet, but they're getting close. They're getting close. Like Troy said, that he's about to, as he's starting to relax a little bit more, the questions are becoming a little more direct, and the partner jumped in there on a couple of things, but the partner asked the same questions that were asked a while ago. So they're making note of how he answered the questions now versus how he answered them before.
Yeah. Also, someone pointed out they're both bald, but the guy on the left with the beard, he's got his firearm. What about that, Dr. Detective? Do you usually have your firearm in an interview room? What if this guy goes nuts and tries to grab it?
So typically we'll lock the weapons up or put them in like a vault during interview time. So it just depends on their situation or scenario, or how the room's configured. But every department's a little different based upon requirements. But yeah, a couple of things like mentioned. Someone mentioned in the comments the statements of just trying to kill time, or needed time to kill, or just kind of aimlessly driving around. So again, he's trying to close the gaps of unaccounted time or his whereabouts, or he's trying to cover, this is a reason why I may have been here or different places. But yeah, he's definitely uncomfortable, and they're both moving in, as Phil said, for the harder questions. But I like how they built the conversation, or they allowed him to speak. So he's pretty much locked himself into, I took her to school. I did drop her off. I watched her in the rearview mirror, and it seemed okay. Right. So he's kind of speaking the truth and kind of revealing elements of what happened. He really wants to say, but it's interesting how they're going to get there, if they do it in this interview or the next one.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get through the whole thing today. Very doubtful. But Annie K, why doesn't law enforcement ask where she is in a desperate manner, as though she may be found alive, followed by Tiff Knox? Most people who are innocent would be like, why are you wasting time on me? Go find Maddie. Is it a giveaway, Phil Ramos, that he's not reacting in that way? And why are police, I assume, are letting him create the narrative, so they're not the ones saying, hey, why aren't you more worried about this?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, those are good points. I expect that's part of their strategy. They're going to get to that. Still relatively early in the interview, and they will ask those specific questions when he's a little more open and when he's a little more relaxed. He's starting to get there a little bit. And Jill just asked a really good question. Do you think he knows they know? Well, you have to expect that he's thinking, how much do they know? What do they know? Do they know everything and they're just playing with me, or are they trying to find out from me what really happened? That mindset that he has is going to determine how he answers the questions. But like we've often said, 70% of the questions we ask them, we already know the answers to. And what we're trying to establish is a baseline for how much you're going to lie to us, how big your lies are going to be, and how convinced you are that we don't know what we're talking about. So I would say that's part of the strategy right now.
And just with all your experience, Phil, are you looking out for the use of a past tense? That's a question here.
Yeah.
Are you keeping you're keeping an ear open for that, right? Like
Yeah.
Maddie's, whatever. Okay. All right, let's keep playing this COE.
Walking past the church or waiting at the church for a while and then leaving.
How's your relationship with her?
Great. I'm one of her favorite people in the world. Even though she's not my flesh and blood, I've always loved her as if she was my own. I've raised her as best I could. Co-parenting is what we call it. I've known her for half her life.
Gotcha. Okay. How old are you?
I'm 37. About to be 38.
You seem like a genuinely nice person.
He looks 173.
Talks very highly of you. So the morning that you took to school, when you came back to get your clicker, what was saying in the car?
She wasn't saying anything. She was just asleep. She was just reclined in the chair, sleeping.
Okay, explain to me, like reclining backwards?
Just laying back in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I guess.
Okay. All right. Stefan here. I'm too old to lie to people. Too old to beat around the bush. And we seem like we're having a generally good conversation right now. Okay. Um, the only thing that I ask for from you is, and I will reciprocate, I want you to be honest with me as much as I'm being honest with you. Okay. There's cameras in all over the place, as you can imagine. Nowadays, cameras are everywhere. Okay. Uh, so we see you coming in and out of at the guard shack in the car. Okay. We see you go by the dumpster. Okay.
I may have taken some trash with me then.
What was in the trash?
House trash.
House trash?
Yeah. So it must have been that morning then. We'll toss trash bags on the back seat, and wherever we're going on our way out, we'll drop that on the way. I think I may have mentioned to her mom that I took the trash out for her. I'll have to double check.
Hey, 1 second.
Okay. Was everything
Stop
in
it,
trash bags?
COE.
Sorry, I know we're trying to get through this, but
No,
you
no,
know,
no, no. We're not. We're not going to get through the whole thing today. But.
Interesting thing, right? The detectives pretty much, as I say, have him on the ropes, right? They're zeroing in on him, but he's trying to take control of the interview by just focusing on the trash. It's an interesting thing. He's trying to take control from them. He knows they have the control. They're coming for him right now, so he's trying to reestablish his, dominance over them, but based upon this trash and that I can account for the cameras and me on camera. So anyway, that's one tip. Just
that's it. Yeah, that's interesting. And Phil Ramos, the anvil is about to be dropped. I mean, this detective is now turned the corner with the famous, I want you to be as honest as, I'm being with you as you are with me, the other way around. I guess, how do you know as a detective when to flip that switch and suddenly, amp up the pressure? Like, how did he know it was go time right now?
When you think you've got him, like Troy said, on the ropes, but I'm a little unclear here. Did he or did he not drop her off at school that morning?
No.
Okay.
He was reportedly driving around with her, and she was dead already. That's
okay.
been reported.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the detectives touched on every school in America's got video cameras, you can't go near a school without being on videotape. I didn't hear him go further into that and ask him to explain, why isn't your car on videotape dropping her off at school? Can you explain that? And that's going to throw him right off.
Well, he did, and Ned Smith's right about that. Apparently, he said he dropped her at a church, which is near the school, because she was sort of embarrassed of his car, I think.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, it's a convoluted story here. And I don't know what parts of it are, real and what aren't yet, but let's, I got to let these guys go in a little bit, and I want to get through the wacky true crime story. Let's do another 5-10 minutes of this, and then we'll pick it up next week, wherever we leave off, because we're getting to the meat and potatoes right now. But let it roll, COE.
I'm sorry?
Was everything in trash bags, or was there any items that were just tossed along with the bag?
I think it would have been trash bags, or maybe some boxes too. Okay. Some birthday stuff, leftovers. I can't remember exactly what.
Okay. When you dropped off for school, did she have her backpack with her?
Yes.
She did. Did she have her school computer with her?
Yes. Presumably, yes.
Presumably. Okay.
She should have.
once again, this goes back with the whole honesty thing. There was things in that trash bag that got thrown away that probably shouldn't have been thrown away. Okay. We'll get that in a minute. But right now, our main focus is on finding where he is. That is our number one focus right now. Okay. Do you have any idea where she may be?
No.
None whatsoever.
No.
Okay. All right. Do you know treated you kind of like her father figure?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And sounds like she almost kind of wanted you to be her dad. And from what it sounds like, you were playing that figure, and something may have happened. Do you think anything happened?
I think so. I don't think what could have happened.
Okay. All right. Do you know anybody that lives in St. Cloud? Do you know where St. Cloud is?
St. Cloud, that's north or south or
East.
east?
East of Kissimmee.
I've been out there too much. Yeah, I'm familiar with St. Cloud.
Okay. Whereabouts in St. Cloud? Like, do you know friends out there, or?
I don't have any friends really. I've driven out there a few times before. Mostly just when I'm meandering up and down 192.
Were you out there this week?
Yeah, I was out there sometime this week. Sometimes I just drive and meander around and explore. And drive till
Sounds
I
like
don't
Brian
know where I am, and
Koberger.
drive till I know where I am again, and I don't know, just driving it's peaceful sometimes.
All right.
If I got time to kill, I'll just drive around.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you're saying when you dropped her off, she had her backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably her school computer was in her backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And you described her wearing a green jacket, some kind of dark colored shorts, and white Crocs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I can confidently tell you she did not go to school with her backpack.
How's that?
Because we found it in the trash. So, Stephan, here's what I'm asking you and pleading with you is to dig down and do some soul searching. Okay? You understand? Family's pleading with you. I'm pleading with you because this is a girl that we need to find. And it's, as more time goes by, it's tough. I have kids, he's got kids, and this little girl's out there somewhere that we need to know where. And I really, really, really think you can help us. I mean, you want to get something off your chest. I don't know what it is, but I'm pleading with you.
I don't know where it is. I don't.
What happened with?
I dropped her off.
Where?
I dropped her off on the road to school. That was the last I saw her.
Sometime throughout the night on Sunday, did you guys have any interaction?
All right, let's hold it there, COE.
Conversations.
We're gonna hold it here. An hour, 2 minutes left, COE. Let's remember that. 1 hour and 2 minutes. I'm gonna bring Phil and Dr. Detective back to do the the back half of this interview, but this is where they're closing in on him, and now he's trying to take control once again of the narrative. Phil Ramos, what kind of I'll talk to you guys off camera and see if you're available next week to do it, but what kind of grade do you give these detectives up to this point?
A+. They're doing a really good job. They're they got their plan. They're following through with it. He's zinged in a couple of unexpected answers, and they handled them pretty well. But they timed that critical question perfectly, and they gave him first opportunity to say, okay, where's she at? Did you do anything to her? And he's denying it. They're going to come back and ask him that a couple more times at least. Give him the opportunity to be honest, straightforward, and get it off your chest, because we know you're struggling with it. We don't know why it happened, but we know that what you're telling us is not true. Period. Leave it at that. Tell us what happened.
Dr. Detective, the grade that you would give these two detectives for this interview up to this point.
Excellent so far. Excellent. And again, as Phil said, their strategy is, they've allowed him to lock himself into the lies, right? The behavior. And the good thing is, the jury's going to see this, right? This will tie into, if it's capital murder case, that ties into all the various other sessions are going to have, the evaluations, whatever the case is, or if whenever we get down to that point. But yeah, this they've done an outstanding job. And the other detective, as you see, he's pretty anxious as well. Might even be a good time for him to step out. I don't know if they do, but we'll see that moving forward. Step out, regroup, come back in with a more aggressive attack. So, and then watch his behavior on camera while they're outside the room. But he's clearly
when you step out, how long are you usually out for to regroup?
It just depends. It depends. We may just let him, kind of what we presented or talked about, let the person kind of live with that. And his mind's going to start racing more. Like, what are they going to come back with? And what do they know? They may come back with pictures. The fact that they mentioned we found the backpack, he's already like, oh man, he's wondering. His mind's racing already. So outstanding job thus far.
Outstanding job by our guests as well. Love these two today. I don't know how many times I have to say it, but we do have the best guests in all, not just true crime. I just think we have the best guests in all the YouTubes. I dare anyone to tell me otherwise. I will give you your money back, guaranteed, but you ain't going to find better guests. And of course, we are missing our regulars, America's most respected detective, Fil Waters and Scott Duffy. And I think next week they're gone, but I'm going to get with Phil Ramos and Dr. Detective Troy Looney to figure out when we'll do part 2. If next week works out, that's great. If not, we'll find another time. We're about to do the true crime stories of the week. Here's a poll. I think Maddie's mom, Jen Soto, is complicit, should be arrested. 88%. I have a feeling that day is actually going to come based on some of the conversations I heard, the jailhouse calls between Stephan Sterns and his parents. So we'll see about that. But everyone rest up, because the rest of the next 6 months of STS is going to be crazy. Next week, Lori Vallo's case. We're doing shows every night. Then I'm headed to Utah for Corey Richins. Then I'm headed to Tallahassee for Donna Adelson. Then I'm headed to Idaho for Koberger. Then this guy is going on trial for murder. It's going to be busy back to back to back. And there you go. True crime stories of the week real quick, and then we'll say goodbye. Phil Ramos, these are the toughest stories. We're going to start off heavy and then end up light. Police officer in Newark, New Jersey, shot and killed in the line of duty. Detective Joseph Ascanza, he was only 26 years old. Happened on March 7th. The suspect, the accused, is a 14-year-old boy in New Jersey, who prosecutors now say is going to be charged as an adult. I think there's a federal nexus here. I think that's going to be a federal prosecution. Curious. These are the worst, sorts of crimes when a police officer is serving their community and they are gunned down in cold blood, but by a 14-year-old. Your thoughts on this, Phil, the fact that this kid's going to be tried as an adult at 14?
You absolutely should be tried as an adult and get adult punishments as a result of it. The sad part about it is, these kids are getting younger and younger and more callous, and they just have no sense of value for human decency and life. There's some common denominators in there among most of them, but regardless, those common denominators have existed for decades, and you don't see the recklessness and the abandon that we're seeing today. And cops are getting killed all the time. We expect it. We know that it's going to happen eventually, but not by a 14-year-old kid.
Yeah, it is awful. Something's going on in the water with female teachers again. I think I've got 3 of these back to back. This one, teacher allegedly SAing a boy. Her name is Elena Barden, 27, facing multiple charges after authorities discovered letters and photos she allegedly sent to the minor, and she is now in custody, being investigated by Kentucky State Police. Where this gets interesting, Dr. Detective Troy Looney, is she was sleeping with this young student. I don't think I even see an age here, but obviously a minor. And then she said to him, "Would you be willing to kill my husband?" So she solicited him in a murder for hire plot. I have no words for this really, other than first she's preying on a young boy. There's always this double standard in our society. I see the comments all the time where people think it's okay for a female teacher, but not okay for a male to do whatever. But now she's looking to have him kill her husband. From an investigative standpoint, people say things. Yeah, I wish my husband was dead. I know the COE has never uttered those words, but how do you know the difference between saying, "Yeah, I want my husband dead," to will you actually kill my husband? How do you figure that out?
Again, that's going to come back to her state of mind, intentions. Obviously, this was her goal from the get-go. I imagine her thought process may have been, what is the most intriguing thing for a teenager, or what do boys think about a lot? I don't know, whatever. But yeah, that's her state of mind will factor in, and can't make these stories up, right? That's unimaginable.
This next one, you probably seen the mugshot. She is accused of essaying her 15-year-old student. Her name is Christina Formella, facing essay charges, Phil Ramos. And then she allegedly wrote a very lengthy note in her phone about this. She's an Illinois teacher. She had a memoir in her phone's notes app where she expressed anger toward the teen that she is accused of abusing. This woman is 30 years old, a special ed teacher from Downers Grove, Illinois, arrested and charged with 2 counts of aggravated criminal SA. The court documents show explicit texts between the teacher, who was married, and she was also a soccer coach, and the student. The teacher vehemently denies it. She says, and I quote here, "I love having sex with you." She goes on to say that she then badmouths him because, quote unquote, he cheated on me and he called me disgusting. "We will never be together again," she writes. "I am not a second choice. I'm the best thing you'll ever have, even with all of my mistakes." This is the teacher, Phil Ramos. This is not the kid. This is the teacher. And they have body cam footage of her being arrested. And now she is saying that she's not guilty, that she's being targeted because she is too good looking, too sexy, too sexy for her student. Phil Ramos, is the world ending?
Well, it is for her.
Yeah.
Her world's ending, but I don't know, man. Like you said, this is becoming so common now, and I would think that school districts would do a better job of getting some background information and doing psychological exams on the teachers they intend to hire to see if possibly they could root out this type of latent personality behavior. I don't know, man. I don't know the answer to that. And
she was with her husband when she got pulled over. Dr. Detective, I mean, I cannot recall when I was growing up I cannot recall a single case of a female teacher doing this to a young boy. It did happen with male teachers. There was one in my school, but do you remember, do you recall that at all? It feels like it happens like 10 times a day now.
Yeah, I don't remember this kind of case. I think the earliest one was the teacher and the young student. I think they ended up getting married, but that was much later. That was much
Mary Kayla Tourneau. Mary Kayla Tourneau.
Yeah, I don't remember this. Maybe we just didn't know about it.
I don't know. I don't know what it. Well, listen, there's one more to talk about. This is another interesting angle, Phil Ramos. This is another teacher who is accused of having, this time, group sex with her students.
People are strange.
And it gets even better because the husband's involved in and by better I mean a lot worse. Prosecutors in Morgan County, Indiana, allege that Nicholas Fortenberry, this is now the teacher's husband, he was upset that his wife was sleeping with up to 10 students and then threatened to kill the students for sleeping with his wife. Instead of going to his wife and threatening to kill her, which might have been a, bad thing to do also, he goes to the kids. So she is facing multiple charges for child molestation, dissemination of material harmful to a minor, sexual misconduct with a minor, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. This husband was aware of his wife's criminal activity, and then he threatens the boys to stop having sex with his wife until they were older. He said you had to be older. Again, Phil Ramos, the bigger issue here is, do I need to move out of this country into a different world?
Where would you move to, though, man? It's just freaking crazy. That's all I can say. I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean, if this was a isolated incident, back in the day, the football captain would be like, yeah, hey, good for you, man. But no, that's just no. I don't have the answer to that one, buddy.
Yeah, what's crazy though is, like, I just don't get, and you guys do, like, to what extent this actually ends. You hear these stories, but you never know how a lot of them end up. Again, did this guy really mean, like, I'm going to kill these kids and really threaten? It sounds like he did. And then how seriously you have to take the threats. So,
well, and the second part about that is the disparity in the sentencing. These women, teachers or females, don't get the same type of sentence as a male counterpart would, who committed the same crime. So not only are society thinking, well, it's not as bad as a man doing it. Well, yes, it is, but we still don't punish the female offenders as much as we punish the male offenders.
Yeah, double standard for sure. All right, on to a little bit lighter news. In case you live, where is this? In Green Bay, Wisconsin. You might be able to help out. This is a story that breaks my heart. Ophelia, she escaped from the Green Bay. It's called the New Zoo and Adventure Park in Green Bay. Ophelia, the otter, escaped. She made it back home during a snowstorm or something, a winter storm. However, Ophelia's either brother, boyfriend, husband. I'm not sure which. His name is Louis. Louis is still on the lam. This is otter breeding season, and the zoo says that they expect as a male otter that Louis is likely ranging a bit further from home than Ophelia did. Just like a man, Phil Ramos. He's looking for a woman while he's away from the other woman. What's wrong with these otters, Phil Ramos?
I don't know. Maybe he got into somebody's moonshine or something. I don't know. How far away do you have to go in Green Bay to find an attractive otter?
Ned Smith says otter nonsense. Catherine, oh no. Rachel D says, I love otters. I think otters are adorable, but I think they'll rip your face off if you get too close. They've got those claws, and they're like the
Or something
cute.
else.
Yeah, or something else for sure. Dr. Detective Troy Looney. I don't know if you heard about this. A few weeks ago, there was news. People who man the James Webb Space Telescope said there was a very serious possibility of a huge asteroid that could have possibly hit planet Earth. I think that might have actually helped us all. I don't know. And that asteroid, it said, could have leveled a city. It was the highest chance back in February. They said it was about a 3.1% chance that this asteroid could hit planet Earth. Let me stop it there and ask you, what would we all do if an asteroid was headed here? You're a detective. How are you going to protect us, Dr. Detective? How are you protecting us from an asteroid?
I don't have an answer for that one. I guess depends on the size of it, and what could we do, right? I don't know.
And Phil can shoot guns in the air, I guess. But Phil Ramos, Earth is apparently no longer in its path, which is good news. However, the moon now is in its crosshairs. They are saying that the chance of a moon shot is now at 3.8%. There's still a 96.2% chance that the asteroid will miss the moon. But let me ask you this. I don't know much about science. What would happen if an asteroid blew up the moon? I think we would be screwed. I have a feeling our tides would get messed up.
Yeah, all of those things are a possibility. It all depends, size, mass, which part of the moon it hits. But, if it was coming to Earth and it was going to be a end of life event, I'm going to go find a school teacher.
Maybe the moon takes one for the team.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, moon's got to jump in there. I was just at the Kennedy Space Center. It's cool stuff. All right, last story. Last but not least, we carefully follow economics on this show. The prices of eggs through the roof. Market's been down. Things are supposed to be going up in price. No one knows what the hell is going on. People are freaking out. 401ks are collapsing just to make everyone feel nice and relaxed on a Friday. But there in Ohio, where Dr. Detective Troy Looney, are you familiar with Yellow Springs, Ohio, Dr. Detective?
Yes, I've heard of it. Yes.
You've heard of it. So there you go. Yellow Springs, Ohio. There's a place called Young's Jersey Dairy. They do a huge 10,000 person annual Easter egg hunt. However, because of the scarcity of eggs and the high prices this year, they are painting potatoes. You're in Ohio. How do you feel about this? I don't know if you celebrate Easter. I personally do not, but I would be upset if I had to paint a potato and not an egg. Your thoughts?
I guess they could have used plastic eggs, right? But I don't know. I guess until there's a potato shortage, it won't be a problem.
Phil Ramos, I went into Trader Joe's last week, and there were no eggs. And I'm told that you still, this has been going on for weeks. You've got to go to Trader Joe's before noon to get your eggs. Is this something as a retired homicide detective that you concern yourself with?
I went into Costco 2 days ago and they had pallets and pallets of eggs. Hundreds.
Really? Of eggs. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have you ship some to me.
Maybe I'll have you ship some to me. I've been going on for weeks. You've got to go to Trader Joe's before noon to get your eggs. Is this something as a retired homicide detective that you concern yourself with? I ask you guys this all the time, but when you go into a Costco, Phil Ramos, are you looking at everyone? Are you looking for the guy that could be that proverbial mass shooter? Like, you always have your antenna up.
Always. And you know, I've been retired for several years now, and it just doesn't go away. You spend your whole half your life looking for that. You just can't just turn it off. You know, yeah.
Mm.
Gas stations, banks, or wherever. And if I'm sitting someplace, you know, at the girls' volleyball practice, I'm sitting there thinking, what am I going to do if somebody comes in here and starts shooting the place up? You know, it's just things that you just, because it's not that unusual anymore. So yeah, we're always looking for somebody that doesn't fit, or you know, that old just doesn't look right thing that we used to go by. And you just watch people that don't look like they're up to that look like they're up to no good, because you got to be ready to act, even though I'm retired and I'm under no obligation to act. I can't not let that happen. You know, it just, you got to do something if it goes bad.
Yeah, I hear all retired law enforcement say that as well. And Dr. Detective, let's say you go out to dinner with your family tonight. Are you always facing the door to see who's coming in and who's going out?
Oh yeah, I'm sitting, hopefully sitting at a place of advantage, or at least visibility, right? So, you know, unfortunately, as Phil said, you know, I'm counting the amount of people looking for the exits. Everything's always in play, head on a swivel, right? So, situational awareness, that's for not just law enforcement, but everybody. You have to kind of pay attention.
It's a scary world. This Shao business woman went crazy in court today. If you haven't seen the video, I caught a glimpse. COE, we should actually post that if you can grab it. She tried to attack her attorney. She's accused of murdering her boyfriend and doing things to his corpse. I don't think she's all there. Something tells me she's probably not all there. And Vesper Martini gave us a final great idea, COE. 3 kids, 2 dogs. And she's suggesting that we build a chicken coop in the backyard. And she says we can do that in Miami. And we can then have our chickens create eggs for us. Rachel G., I'm watching The Pit on HBO. It's not over yet. I thought this thing was over. It's the best show I've seen in a long time. There was another ER nurse in here. Forgive me, I'm just blanking. Oh, that's it. My cat's name is Karen. She's an ER nurse. I'm wondering, Karen, let me know what you think of The Pit on Max. It's an awesome show. Check it out. Nonstop action. The word of the day is eggs. Ned Smith telling me we can rent the chicken. Huge thanks to Dr. Detective Troy Looney and Detective Phil Ramos, the 3-time Officer of the Year in Vegas and a homicide detective extraordinaire. Love you, America. Oh, wait, I wrote down a list of all the places people are watching the show from. I have to read that or I will feel incomplete. If I can find it, stand by. Panic mode as I get through my notes. I wrote down a list. Lest you think we are not a global show. Love you, Mumbai, Cape Town, South Africa, the Republic of Ireland, Australia, the United Kingdom, and the Kingdom of Lesotho, which is a landlocked kingdom surrounded by South Africa. What about that, Phil Ramos? So you got people from Mumbai and the Kingdom of Lesotho watching. That's pretty cool, right?
Been to Lesotho on the way to Kruger National Park a couple of years ago on a photo safari. Pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. I went to the Serengeti. Now that we're comparing the safari, if you are able to do it, by the way, that's my studio. Look what it's pretty cluttered. Maybe this is why my kids are disasters, but I'm like, I have a lot of true crime crap in here. Carmen and I are getting featured in my university's alumni magazine, and they actually sent a professional photographer to take photos. So
is that an OJ coffee cup?
That's an OJ coffee cup. There's Keith Morrison. Yeah, there's a lot. There's an OJ videotape back there, an original VHS tape. There's a Keith Morrison prayer candle back there. Yeah, I'm always you can't really tell. There's a on the far left. There's like a what is it? It's like a not a bobblehead doll. It's kind of like a bobblehead doll, but it's custom of Carm. It's awesome. It has my mom's name on it. I do have a picture of my kids. That's the far left on that little thing. But yeah. So you went to Kruger National Park. How was it? It was incredible, right?
Unbelievable, man. Once in a lifetime thing. Incredible. You can't even describe it. TV does nothing for it.
I'm with you. That's one thing I vowed to take my kids back to. COE and I went on our honeymoon. We went to Tanzania, the Serengeti, and we went to Rwanda, where you get to trek and meet the gorillas, which in retrospect is the craziest thing I've ever done, because there ain't no fence, there's no cage, and there's 13 gorillas, and there's some guy, Diane Fossey taught them the gorilla language, and it's wild. They speak to these gorillas, and the gorillas answer them. It's crazy. Anyway, so shout out to Africa. Shout out to the best guests. Love you, America, even though you got some issues. And we'll see you soon. Be safe, everybody. See you on Monday with Lori Vallow. Guys, stick around 1 second.